But the reason why I love my job is I do civil litigation. And civil litigation is starting a lawsuit, bringing to the trial. And I thought about this when I was learning about syndication. It's very similar. You start the litigation and you throughout the discovery phase, you find out the ins and outs of the case and what's pros and cons of your own case. And if it's bad, you got to try to settle early. If it's strong, then you got to push to the trial, convince the jury why your case is strong.
Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome back to another episode of Weiss Advice. I'm your host, as always, Yona Weiss, and with me today, I am very excited to have the one and only Yosef Lee on the podcast. Yosef, as he goes by your brosef. What's cooking, my brother?
Hey, thank you very much, Yona, for having me here. One and only Yona, finally I'm here. Great to see you.
Love it. I'm excited to have you on the show. You are an inspiration to me in a lot of ways, believe it or not, because you're doing something that a lot of people kind of aspire to do, which is work a full-time job, right? You're an attorney in New York City, right? You're a lawyer by day. And in the in-between hours and by night and weekends, you're investing in real estate. You're a multifamily syndicator. You kind of got involved in that and have taken that journey through passive investing, through active investing. And now, hopefully, that may turn into something a little more full-time as time goes on.
Yeah, at one point. Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Very cool. And another reason why I love you so much is because you share a name with my son. I have a son named Yosef. In fact, in about a month from now, probably about the time when this is going to be, when this is going to air in about a month, he's going to be bar mitzvah, which is 13. That's the day when he becomes, legally, an adult in the Jewish religion. But I love the name because it's Joseph. But as you told me previously, that in Korean, the Y in the Bible, right? The J's are also pronounced like Y, similar to Hebrew.
Yes. So it's like, literally, Yosef is Yosef, not Joseph. Rahel instead of Rachel, Johan instead of John, right? That's how the Korean people pronounce the biblical names.
That's awesome. So we have a lot in common then. We have
yes.
Another thing in common. I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey and how you came to find real estate in general, because I think it's not something that most people are taught about. It's not something that, is very mainstream to invest in apartment, multifamily deals in the Midwest or, anywhere like that. Like, how did you stumble upon this? Okay.
So, just a little bit of background. As you know, I'm an attorney from New York City. It's very, very time demanding job. And, it's been by nature of the job, it's been just trading my time for money. If you want to make more money, obviously you got to put more time. And that's just going against the notion of my lifestyle that I wanted to pursue. Like as my kids are growing up, I wanted to spend more time with them. However, it is completely going the opposite direction. So been thinking, and then I stumbled upon a book. It's called Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, just like many others out there. And it kind of completely changed my mindset. And that's when I started thinking about seriously, investing and business, owning own business, etc. So, and fast forward, I was looking into a little bit of everything like REITs, mutual fund and stocks. And I finally landed on real estate, more so multifamily, because of the benefits that multifamily provides. It was no brainer not to take, right? But I didn't know where to start. So I started doing some self-education through visiting biggerpockets.com, listening to the podcasts like Michael Blank's, Grant Cardone, and starting a self-education, and soon realized I was going nowhere because I was just passively observing the information. So that's when I seriously thought about joining a mastermind or mentorship program, which I did back in late February of 2020, right before a pandemic came and shut down everything. And I joined the mastermind group and mentorship program. And it was one of the most critical thing in my real estate journey and a best choice I ever made looking back. And from the point on, real education, real networking, and the real actions were taken. Yep. And I'm here.
So let me dig into that a little bit just for our listeners, in case no one's ever heard of like a mastermind or a mentoring program. Can you give us a little like insider, what happens in these masterminds, in these mentorship programs? Like, what's it all about?
Sure. So mastermind, to me, mastermind is where people gather for a common theme or common goals, and then they share their knowledge and experience, and they support each other, and they partner up for business and common goals, and then they just work together, and then produces better and bigger results, and they're synergized, right? So this is a mastermind, and the one that I joined was a paid mastermind. There are many paid masterminds out there, and before I seriously thought about it, I spoke to a couple of people through Bigger Pockets and people I met through networking about joining this mastermind group, and 20 and 80%. So 80% of people told me, look, you're going to pay some chunk of money. How about you save that? And you're going to be learning the free stuff that you can find out there anyway. So just study yourself, listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube videos, and save that money for your down payment, and just actually buy the property and do it yourself and learn that way. And to me, that advice was very sound, right? It's sure. This guys have a point, right?
Absolutely.
And on the other hand, these 20% of the people out of all the people that I asked about Mastermind and paid mentors program, they said, look, Yosef, you're going to meet amazing people who are very supportive, and it's going to definitely expedite your journey. So just join. So these were the 20% of people. And, I kind of debate, and I decided to join based on two main reasons. By then, I was already decided to do multifamily as opposed to residential side. And saving 10 grand and 20 grand wouldn't make any difference because in terms of saving the down payment, because we're talking about $2, $3, $4 million properties, and down payment is way bigger than $20,000 or $10,000, right? So right. Saving that didn't really hit me as a good idea. And second reason, I looked at people, and then the ones who were closing the deals and making things happen were from this 20% group.
There you go. It's always the people who aren't, actually taking action that are very, very forthcoming with advice.
Right. And so, yeah, that was great. And I wanted to focus on the words that they were using. The 80% of the group, the words they used was free and easy. Save that for down payment, 10,000, 20,000, versus the words that the other 20% group says, you're going to meet amazing people, right? And it's going to expedite your journey. Mm-hmm. You could kind of see the difference. Like the first group, first group focusing on free and something that you could easily do, as opposed to people, right? And that's where I see the most value in the mastermind group. That's the support that you get from these people, like-minded, high performance, absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. That's a really astute kind of breakdown, analysis of the opinions. And I think a lot of times we're given advice, and especially if you ask like on the forums, you ask on Bigger Pockets, you ask on LinkedIn, like I do, all these things, you get a lot of advice. A lot of people saying different things. And then what do you do with all that? I mean, to kind of dig in like you did to dig into the deeper reasoning behind them. Obviously, you related much more. I mean, you could relate with to both, right? But you related more in the fact that seeing, okay, here's something that's going to accelerate my growth and relate to the people, which in the end of the day is the main element of the success of this business. Yeah. Like everyone says, in multifamily, it's a team sport, much, much more so than in residential family.
It is. And don't get me wrong. Do I think it is necessary or prerequisite? No. But it will definitely expedite the journey.
Yeah, I love that. Expediting the journey is a huge thing. And just to speak to the point of expediting the journey and meeting the people and having the support. I mean, when we met a few weeks back in Orlando at the Jake and Gino conference, right? You see hundreds of people and you're taking pictures with all these people and you're getting to all these people who you've kind of seen and been watching along the journey and connecting with. there's a lot of support. A lot of people know you, watch your journey. You've helped to do that through the brand that you've created, right? I mean, people come and see you online. You're taking action. You're out there, right, sharing the journey and showing it can be done, and others can learn from you.
Yes, it was great seeing, especially seeing the partners and the deal that I had year and a half years ago. We've been doing weekly calls, Zoom calls, but never seen each other in person. Finally met, and giving the hugs and handshakes. And you too, Yona. I met you outside the room, and then we were just hugging and handshaking and taking pictures together. That's something that we've been missing for almost 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And finally, with that friendship and the partnership that were developed through the Zoom calls and these virtual meetups, finally that is combined with that actual handshake and in-person meeting, and this was so powerful.
Yeah, and you host just speaking of meetups, you host a meetup with Nico. I think I may be wrong, but I think it's on the same exact time that my Wednesday night meetup is also, right? You guys meet at the same time, I think, right? That's
why when we had you as a guest, we had to change the date to maybe Thursday or Tuesday, I think.
Right. We moved it around.
It's been already like about a year already?
Yeah, it's over a year for sure.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Time flies. We've been doing these virtual meetups, and I keep it going, right? We do it every Wednesday. It's amazing to see same people coming back and people doing deals together. We just talked last night. We're recording this on a Thursday. Last night we had Wednesday, and I mentioned to the group, I'm like, hey, we should all just do a deal together. Like, okay, next week, everyone find a deal, bring to the table, and let's discuss. Why not? Great. You're meeting with same people every week, and that's really what a mastermind is all about. And I think there's a lot of power in numbers when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. No, you're creating that opportunities for people to join and come and learn each other and join the forces. And I think that's a great thing to do, Yona.
What do you see, if you can say down the road, obviously you're a W-2 right now, you're an attorney, you're working full-time, overtime probably, right? As most attorneys do, hustling. I mean, do you see yourself transitioning more full-time into real estate at a certain point? Is that the goal?
Yes. But at the same time, I love what I do in my job, right? So I'll probably get out as W-2, maybe turn myself into 1099. And as you know, being a professional status in real estate is not that hard, right? So I think I could maintain a professional professional investor status in multifamily at the same time, keep my job probably reduced to 20 hours a week or so, and being very selective on certain cases. But the reason why I love my job is I do civil litigation. And civil litigation is starting a lawsuit, bringing to the trial. And I thought about this when I was learning about syndication. It's very similar. You start the litigation and you throughout the discovery phase, you find out the ins and outs of the case and what's pros and cons of your own case. And if it's bad, you got to try to settle early. If it's strong, then you got to push to the trial, convince the jury why your case is strong. Similarly, I see from syndication, you find a deal throughout due diligence, you find out ins and outs of the deal and pros and cons. And if it's good enough, you bring it to the table for the investors and convince them why this is a good deal they have to invest and close. Right. So it's like the process is very similar to me. And that's how I was able to enjoy the entire process.
That's great. I love that you kind of relate the process. And there are a lot of similarities for sure. Especially if you win the case, right? and you get paid, right? Obviously, sometimes it takes a long time to get paid, but similar with real estate.
But the better part is real estate, you keep it and it constantly cash flows and gets you the money as opposed to one time, right?
Exactly, yeah. And that the equity that's in there, the value, the wealth that's created through, bringing it, increasing the value of that property, the appreciation over time.
Oh yeah. Oh, depreciation.
There's a lot of good stuff around a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
That's awesome. And are there any other things you're doing besides for the weekly meetup that you do, the network, the mastermind that you're a part of, that you're doing on a regular basis to continue your education or to continue the networking?
Networking is a big part of my journey. And so from the beginning till now, consistently, I'll try to meet at least one or two people a day, and throughout the week. So about at least 5 to 10 to 15 people sometimes a week consistently. And through them, I love to connect them to other people as well. Not only connecting to myself, but also connecting other people as well. So it's great. I know for sure you feel the same way. You feel joy when you see people being connected, right? And then there's a synergy. And that's what the mastermind is all about as well. So I do mastermind, networking, as you said, some education, meetups, right? That's a big part of it. And it's actually this year, 2021, one of my challenges of 2021 was to push myself out of comfort zone by being a guest on the podcast. So, and that's how, I'm so happy about being here with you, because that's also part of my challenge as well. It's ongoing challenge throughout the 2021. And so, yeah, I'm here.
Love that.
What else?
And you also have this social media challenge that you kind of put together.
And you know from whom I learned it?
I don't know.
You, because you started in LinkedIn a while back. You're still doing it, I believe, right? But the one I joined was like a half a year ago, or if not about a year ago. And then I forgot about it. But back then, and then like 2 months, almost 2 months or a month or two ago, it kind of, I don't know, for some reason, that memory kind of revived. I'm like, I recall Yona did this, and then I really enjoyed it. It really helped me to boost my presence. But Yona did that in LinkedIn. How about I try it in Facebook, right? So I started one person and two, and then I opened it up to a couple more people, and they all joined, and they are really pushing hard. And you know how many? So I told them, look, it's not about how many likes you get,
right?
It's about how much or how consistent you can be, right? I will put it that way.
Yeah.
So that was our goal. So they're being consistent, but not only that, they're attracting a lot of viewers, like comments, and people learn a lot from this. And I thought it was great. And these people are just doing it really great things, right?
I love that. It's awesome to see, because that's one of the reasons why I started in the first place, just to empower other people, right? To have that kind of group accountability and to empower other people to kind of crush their limiting beliefs that, I can't post on social media. I can't create content. I don't know how to do it, blah, blah, blah. Just do it, right? Yeah. Sit down, take the time, create content, just do it and put yourself out there. And people literally, like, it changes their whole life for a lot of people, literally.
Oh yeah. Yes. And what you did through that, and also what I did following you, was in a smaller sense, sort of creating small mastermind there. So everything is about joining forces and creating a group, creating a big mass through all these little activities, right? That's how amazing a mastermind is. It's
a little, just chipping away, right? It's the little, the water dropping on the stone, over time, it can create that hole. It can burn through. So that's awesome. I'd love to, we could go on and on and on, and time just flies over here, but I want to transition now to what we call the final four. These are 4 questions that I ask all my guests. Yosef, first for you is going to be, what's the worst job that you ever had?
Worst job I ever had. I had many jobs throughout my college period, right? I came in the US, and back then the only thing I could do was some jobs that I could only speak in Korean, but I tried to learn English back then. So I worked in a fishy store. I worked in a restaurant as a waiter. I worked in a jewel store selling, sometimes I sold jeans. So all these retail store experiences. But every job, it's funny. Every job, I think it's important to define the worst being worst, right? Because every job, in the end, looking back, taught me certain things, right?
Yeah, of course.
But overall, throughout all the jobs, the part that I did not like about, maybe I could call it the worst part of each job, because I can't really pinpoint one particular worst job, was being mundane, right? I always struggled to find a way out of this mundane, repetitive tasks, like just standing right there, just having that same repetitive transactions of people picking something and paying me, and then giving them the rest of the money, changes. So that was really mundane for me. So once I started doing that, and I feeling like, okay, this is not me, and I got to move on to another one. First few months, I like it because I'm learning stuff, and once I learn and I hit that status quo, and it starts feeling like, okay, this job is also being mundane again, so I got to move on. So I think I will just pinpoint that part as worst part of each job.
Yeah.
Once I feel like something's being repetitive, and I'm trapped in the local area, that's when I feel like, okay, I got to get out.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it's that kind of growth mindset in you that really wants to continue learning and continue to grow and to help. And if you just kind of stuck, you're like that little bird that wants to fly, right? And stuck in the cage.
Yes.
So I want to ask you about a book you've read that's given you a paradigm shift.
So I'll always pick two. So in terms of my life, I'll pick Bible. And in terms of my investment journey, I pick Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad and Poor Dad, because you said paradigm shift.
Yeah, of course.
And totally there are many other books that will get you the knowledge, right? But the paradigm shift is more of a mindset. So I'll pick those two. Bible told me how there is a creator and we're the creature. And once you have that paradigm in you, it's just totally different. The way you think, the way you look at the world, and the way you treat people are totally different, as opposed to you are just you, and there's no above or below. So I can't really deal with those people. I mean, I could become friends, but there's a fundamental difference of the way you look at the life and the life philosophy. So that's the book, Bible, and Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad was another book that gave me that got me into another paradigm shift of how I should look at the tax, how I should look at how the money works, right?
Yeah.
And how you should see the business and investing and
for sure.
All this, right?
So great. Yeah. So great. We've had it brought up many times on, and for a good reason. So if you're listening to this and you still haven't picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad, maybe it was because of the episode with Omar Khan, but if for any other reason, and that's just hinting to a fact that he didn't like that book. So he talked about it on my podcast, but for everyone else out there, make sure to pick it up and believe me, it will give you a paradigm shift. Third question, what is a skill or talent that you would like to learn? Always
communication and sales. That's more so sales, because sales is about communication and knowing the other side's needs, finding out the needs and demands, etc. So sales skill set, I think it's a great skill set. And I know there's a negative connotation that follows the word sales. So if you just lift that up and forget about it, and if you look really into the skill set and inside the sales, I think it's great, because sales is not about just selling. Sales is about finding out the pain point and providing the resolution. And eventually it becomes win-win for both sides.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really what it's all about. And it has to be done in a different way than the traditional, what you said, the negative connotation that comes along with sales, because certain traditional actions that are related with sales that are not really what it's all about, right? Like you just said, finding a win-win solution and finding the pain points and helping people. That can be done in so many different ways, and creatively is really the best way. So love that. That's a great skill to have. I wish you luck with continuing in that, because it's a good one.
Thank you.
Fourth and final question. What does success mean to you?
Okay. Success. I had many different, my own definitions of success throughout my life. I think at each stage, it changes. When I was a teenager, success was more like owning certain tangible items to show off to people, right? When I become 20s and 30s, now I'm going towards my 40s. It's more about influence, how you can make changes in not only yourself, but other people's lives in a way that you can build up long-term relationship. And when it comes to finance, with that mindset, it's more like a stepping stone and a tool to amplify your willingness to influence other people in a better way. So that's what I see the success as at this point. It might change in my 50s or 60s, but hopefully, I don't know.
Absolutely. No, it's an ongoing, everyone who's growing is continually changing and continually getting better definitions and understanding what life's all about. And I think that's what success, to you means is that, helping other people. How can I make an influence? How can I positively impact others? And that's true, truly great definition of success. So lastly, before we sign off, Yosef, where can our listeners find you or reach out to you?
Okay. I am very approachable. As Yona, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta. You could just type Yosef, your Brosef, BROSEF. I just finished my website. So it's yosefhlee.com or thebrosef.com, BROSEF. And it will lead to the website, and you could leave me comments or just send me a message. I'll definitely reach out back to you.
Awesome. So we'll make sure to put that in the show notes if anyone wants to check out Yosef Brosef. Check him out. Find him online. Find him on social media. Tell him that you listened to him on Weiss Advice and you got some good Weiss advice from Yosef.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Great.
This has been a pleasure, Yosef. Thank you so much for joining me and taking the time out of your busy day to join me on the podcast.
Thank you, Yona, for having me. Finally, I'm here, and it's my honor to be able to be here on your podcast. And it means a lot to me because you were one of the ones that I looked up to throughout my journey, and being able to talk to you this way and meeting in person was just absolutely amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. And to our listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly did. And remember, until next time, the best advice comes only when you ask. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, a connection request, Yona Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.